So with that, we're going to go into the next video, which is the scope of strategy by Mintzberg. At the scope of strategy, basically by Mintzberg, it states that the scope of strategy can be broadened into 5 distinct interlocking areas, but are mutually exclusive, which basically helps us to understand that there are basically 5 distinct components that necessitates a effective strategy. And what are those 5 components? Mintzberg mentions strategy can be seen as a ploy, strategy as a position, strategy as a plan, strategy as a pattern, and strategy as a perspective. Now, with that, the first part of strategy is that we understand is a ploy. When we say a strategy is a ploy, basically is a tactic that can be used towards trying to compete with your opponents within the business environment. Now, this is essential in line with Dinley's definition of strategy, whereby he said it can be used as a weapon towards achieving the goals and objectives of the organization in a competitive environment. And understanding that and know that once you're able to put the right strategy in place with proper analysis of your environment and understanding the dynamics of your environment and then the resources available to you, it helps you to position yourself in a way that you are in an advantage over those that you compete with in the environment that you find yourself. We can also say that strategy can be seen as a position, which is the second aspect of that. Now, as a position, we understand that for every organization that is trying to put himself in a particular environment, there is a certain position or distinct place they want to see themselves. So, of course, normally, if for any organization that's competing in the business environment, once they're coming into that environment, they already have an idea of where they want to be positioned. They want to be second, they want to be among the few that exist in terms of that particular market or business, or they want to be the leaders of that environment. Now, understanding your position gives you the ability to know what you need to put in place towards achieving that position that you find yourself. And that is what strategy does. With the right strategy, you're able to position yourself in the environment that you find yourself. Now, strategy, we can also say, is a plan. Of course, as I said, it's a course of or series of actions, and that in itself is a plan. And it's only if you have a plan in place and an orchestrated, sophisticated plan, then you can say you have an effective strategy. Now, planning in itself means you have to consider, of course, the resources as emphasized earlier on, and understanding the resources you have available helps you to execute your plan effectively in terms of the strategy that needs to be put in place towards achieving the goals and objectives of the organization. Fourthly, we can say that strategy is a pattern. Now, it's a pattern because with strategy, we understand it takes series of actions. But for you to be able to continually or consistently achieve your goals and objectives, you have to follow certain courses of actions which have been proven to work in the past. And through following those courses of actions, it becomes a pattern which you know works for you. And that's why we always talk about forecasting in strategy, forecasting, meaning that it is through the patterns of data that you've been able to gather that you're able to then forecast or predict what will work for you in the organization. And with that, that's why forecast plays a major role in actually executing a strategy. Then finally, we can say that strategy is a perspective. We have to understand that everybody looks at things differently in terms of strategy. And with that, everybody's idea of what strategy might be effective within an organization in terms of the dynamics in which they find themselves will determine what strategy will work best for you in that environment. So although we haven't gone into that, you have different types of strategies in terms of, so for example, acquisition, you would have strategies like diversification, research development, product development, Again, it all depends. You even have backward integration, forward integration. These are different strategies that organizations tend to apply, but the only way they can apply that is from their own perspective of what works for their environment, what dynamics or factors are found within their environment, both externally and internally, to determine at the end of the day the perspective in which they're going towards their strategy. All right, so with that, we're going to the next slide or the next video, which is looking at the levels and forms of organizational strategy.